Behind the slam dunks, flashy three-pointers, and jaw-dropping assists, there's a side of NBA legends that fans rarely see. A side filled with intense rivalries, personal grudges, and outright hatred. From fistfights on the court to years of silent grudges, these NBA icons didn't just play the game, they played for revenge. So, who are these legends who just can't stand each other? Buckle up as we dive into the most shocking NBA rivalries that went beyond basketball. Basketball is a high-intensity sport, with legends giving it their all on the court. While some rivalries grow out of pure competitive spirit, others stem from deeper grudges. Today we're uncovering the famous NBA legends who developed real-life hatred for each other. Conflicts that impacted their games, careers, and left scars that never healed. 1. Magic Johnson versus Isiah Thomas. Let's start with one of the most heartbreaking rivalries. Magic Johnson and Isiah Thomas. These two were best friends in the early 80s, often seen joking around, sharing personal moments, and even kissing each other on the cheek before games. But that friendship didn't last. Things took a dark turn when rumors began swirling about Magic's HIV diagnosis in 1991. Allegedly, Isiah questioned Magic's sexuality behind his back, which Magic never forgave. This betrayal led to Magic openly shutting Isiah out of the NBA All-Star team. They didn't speak for years, and though they reconciled, some wounds just never fully heal. Feeling betrayed, Magic shut Isiah out of his life, which culminated in Isiah being excluded from the 1992 NBA All-Star team. Magic's influence among the players was strong, and Isiah was left on the sidelines as a result. Although they've reconciled in recent years, the scars from this fallout left a dark mark on both their lives and careers. For Magic, it was a friendship he thought he could count on, while for Isiah, it was a betrayal he would never fully understand. 2. Michael Jordan versus Isiah Thomas. Next up, the beef between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. If you think Magic's grudge was bad, Jordan and Thomas took it to a whole new level. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Bad Boys Detroit Pistons, led by Thomas, were known for their brutal tactics, especially against Jordan. In the playoffs, Thomas and his team employed brutal tactics to wear down Jordan and the Bulls, often with hard fouls that bordered on outright aggression. Things escalated in 1991 when, after a tough loss to the Bulls, Thomas and his Pistons teammates walked off the court without shaking hands, which Jordan took as a deep insult. This action solidified their enmity, and Jordan famously blocked Thomas from joining the 1992 Dream Team, even declaring in the Last Dance documentary that he thought Isiah was an a-hole. To this day, Jordan has never softened his stance, and Isiah remains one of the few people Jordan could never forgive. 3. Shaquille O'Neal versus Kobe Bryant. Moving to a duo that defined the early 2000s, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. These two were a powerhouse on the court, bringing the Lakers 3 championships in a row. But off the court, it was a different story. Shaq, the dominating center, had an easygoing approach to life and was famously laid back about training, which often frustrated Kobe, who saw Shaq's lack of commitment as a laziness. Kobe, on the other hand, was intensely focused, disciplined, and wanted to be the best, no matter the cost. This tension spilled over into public arguments and heated comments to the media. Shaq famously called Kobe selfish, and once quipped that Kobe couldn't win without him. Kobe, in turn, felt Shaq relied too much on his natural talent, without putting in the hard work. Although they made peace years later, the friction between them defined much of their Lakers career, and forced Shaq to eventually leave the team. Their feud not only changed the dynamics within the Lakers, but also reshaped how superstars managed their personal relationships while playing together. 4. Charles Barkley versus Scottie Pippen. Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen's feud might be lesser known, but was no less intense. They played together for a brief stint on the Houston Rockets in 1999, but their clashing personalities quickly led to tension. Barkley, known for his brash, unfiltered personality, didn't mesh well with Pippen's disciplined, quieter demeanor. After a disappointing season, Pippen publicly expressed regret for joining the Rockets, calling Barkley lazy and even questioning his work ethic. Barkley, never one to stay silent, fired back by saying, "I'm no one's role model, especially not Scottie's," and made it clear he wasn't looking for Pippen's approval. This grudge has never really subsided, and even today the two legends occasionally take subtle digs at each other on air. This rivalry may not have been as visible on the court, but it certainly remains strong in the NBA Legend Hall of Fame. 5. Kevin Garnett versus Tim Duncan. Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan were two of the best power forwards of their era, but couldn't be more different in temperament. Garnett, known for his trash-talking and fiery energy, frequently tried to get into the heads of his opponents. And Duncan was no exception. Duncan, a calm and reserved powerhouse, rarely responded to trash talk, but Garnett allegedly crossed the line during games, reportedly bringing up deeply personal topics, even mocking Duncan's late mother, who passed away when Duncan was a teenager. Despite Garnett's taunts, Duncan never responded publicly, but sources close to him say he never forgave Garnett for these remarks. Their matchups were often filled with tension, with Duncan dominating Garnett in his quiet, unrelenting way, letting his skills speak instead of his words. This silent feud made their game some of the most intense showdowns in NBA history, reminding fans that rivalries aren't always about shouting. Sometimes silence says it all. 6. LeBron James versus Lance Stephenson. And finally, one of the more comical but intense rivalries, LeBron James versus Lance Stephenson. Known for his quirky tactics to get under LeBron's skin, Stephenson blew into LeBron's ear during a playoff game, a moment that instantly went viral. But for LeBron, it was no joke. He saw Stephenson as an annoying, overly aggressive player. Lance would intentionally get physical and use any tactic to disrupt LeBron's flow. Even though it's more of a love-hate relationship, LeBron once admitted that Stephenson was a handful who would do anything to throw him off his game. It was one of those rivalries that added a lot of spice to the Eastern Conference. LeBron, while often amused, wasn't a fan of Stephenson's antics and saw him as a handful who would do anything to throw him off his game. While this rivalry never turned into outright hatred, it added a lot of spice to the Eastern Conference matchups, showing fans that not all rivalries are bitter. Some just add to the fun and intensity of the game. These rivalries remind us that NBA legends aren't just superstars. They're people with emotions, grudges, and pride. For some, these rivalries faded with time, while for others, the bitterness remains. From betrayals to brawls, these stories show how intense basketball rivalries can be, proving that when you step onto the court, it's not always just a game. And that's what keeps the NBA exciting: the drama, the passion, and sometimes the hate. If you love diving into the untold stories and legendary feuds that have shaped the game, make sure you don't miss a single episode. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and let us take you courtside for even more behind-the-scenes drama, intense rivalries, and unforgettable moments. Stick around. There's a lot more to uncover about your favorite NBA icons. Let's keep the ball rolling.